Okay. Okay, so welcome to the September 26th edition. Sorry about last week, but I'm not sorry that I was able to participate in this incredible 25th anniversary of the Kamui Samurai Kengido. Shimaguchi Tetsuro, he choreographed and performed in the movie Kill Bill with Tarantino, And so he's been doing this for 25 years. He travels a lot in Europe, and he's quite awesome. They do this great, and they had so many people there, and it was at Happoen. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's quite a luxurious hotel and just fabulous food, and it was wonderful. Yeah. Anyway, so let's get started. We are back the semester is back in session. Actually, we've been going now for a month, and so I have some students back doing an Aikido and sword club. And last week we just had one person, but I think this week on Friday we meet every morning. I think we're going to have 2 weeks ago we had one person, then last week we had 4, and I know some others are joining, so we might have up to 10. Anyway, I'll be drawing some samples of that for the Metaversity, not the entire class, but just segments. So let me share my screen, and we'll go into the Gaia town. Okay, so the theme, before I start it, the theme on this is, I think it's starting anyway. Okay, so today we have Ruth joining us. She will come on camera, and I'm going to illustrate. Let me just play it. It's a bit bright behind us. Sorry about that, but the sun angle will change shortly, I think. Anyway, I'm going to illustrate how the principles of Shodo actually apply also to Aikido, and also I'm going to show how 2 of the Aiki Taiso connect to the Kaisho, Kyosho, Sosho versions of that. Okay, so this is a review, but let's face the camera, and this one, remember, was called this Tekubi Kosa. And you want to have your arms swing at a natural angle like this. So it's like when you're a kid, you get on a swing and it just goes like this. So you do 4 with the right wrist in front. You do 4 with the left wrist in front. 3, 4. And the whole idea is to completely relax. 4, and then you stop on the last one. 3, stop here cleanly. So, very good. I forgot. What a lot of people do is they will come here and then press down. So try that and then press down. And press down. So you didn't really stop, and so you use your bones. So it feels like nothing. So people feel like, oh, this can't be stable, but your whole body is floating on this. So it actually is quite stable. Please test me. Now, not only is it strong there, but use both hands instead of pressure. It's also strong if I go like this. So you try it. Stop. And this is strong, but can you bend your knees and go down? Oh, okay, pretty good. But you don't want to be like outside of it, you want to be on top of it. You just stop cleanly, and then just bring everything down together. Okay. Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. You can just because this is part of what throw is all about. The other one that you're familiar with is tenkan, where you bend your wrist this way, you step under the foot, and then here, slide. Put your hand out here, step under the foot, turn, and slide. So face the same direction as me. Okay. So you take your back hand, bend the wrist, step under it, turn, and slide. Slide the foot back. So you have your right foot forward. And you put your left hand out, step under it, turn, and slide. So try it again. So if you're left foot forward, facing this direction, you're going to move from the back foot. So you put your right hand out, you step under that, turn, and you're very fit, so it comes up. Apparently, it's not that easy. So you start with your left foot forward, put your right hand out, step under it, just take one step inside the foot, counterclockwise. Turn to the open side. Yeah, and then slide the foot down. So I'm just going to comment there. I gave like several sets of instructions. You know, you put your foot under and you turn. And I did it, right? And then I said, well, no, you have to turn counterclockwise. And then I said, well, you have to, you know, I don't know, there was 3 different things I said. And it's not that easy and she's not a beginner, she's a 5th kid, right? So sometimes people get confused, but these are the elements of the Aiki Kata, which become the basis for the Kaisho version. Today, the theme is Kaisho, Sosho, Kaisho, Gyosho, Sosho. So let's continue to watch. Just like 5 centimeters. And you put your left hand out, so you're going to turn clockwise. You step under it, turn, and slide the foot back. So this is just a 10-count exercise. This, left foot forward, left foot forward. Always move from the back of the hand. So if your left foot's forward, put your right hand out. Bend your wrist, step, turn, slide. Put your wrist out there, step, turn, slide. Okay, do it with me, face the same direction. Left foot forward, right hand forward. Step under it, turn, slide. I think in a sense we have to drill things many, many times so that people can do it without thinking. Yeah, so you have your left foot forward. Now, right hand out, step under it, turn, slide. Yeah, okay, and step on your wrist. Step under it, turn, slide. You should be facing, yeah.
I think part of the issue there, Will, is that you're doing it for the camera.
Yeah.
And she's sometimes on the blind side of you. Right. I've noticed that in the dojo quite often.
Right.
So if the sensei is in front,
yeah,
then they can follow the move precisely. So we try and do a lot of mirror exercises like you're doing here, rather than just standing up doing it and say, right, now do it. So we get everybody up and do it all together. And eventually that works quite well.
Yeah, good suggestion.
I want to draw them in firm. So you're going to turn your body to the side.
The Kaisho version includes, like, I remember Osuka Sensei once said, the Kaisho version is like the photographs in a book. So you have maybe 5 photographs showing all 5 steps of the technique. And each one you have to have a very particular pose, very particular angle of the hand, where the weight is on the foot.
Step across.
And so what I'm trying to do is introduce different elements of the technique that we're going to do, and then put them together.
You draw the right foot, you step with the left.
But because it's unfamiliar movements in some cases, it's like you don't know why you're doing that, right? Or maybe it's easier to visualize if somebody's grabbing your wrist.
What the arm simply does is it comes here in front of the camera.
So obviously in a class setting, you're doing it with a continuous motion that we are watching. What I've tended to do more and more over the last several years is, if I'm filming or photographing, if I'm in your dojo and photographing you, I tend to, instead of doing a video, I do what I think is that they call a sports sequence shot. So as you do it at normal pace, I push the shutter and it takes several pictures in a second.
Right.
So you have a series of stills. And I personally found that, and I think some others have found that a very useful revision exercise.
Interesting, yeah.
For the movement. So it's not to say don't do the video, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's another way of helping And so it's just like Otsuka Sensei in the book. You have a series of stills, but they're the same technique, but in very quick sequence.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think I'll try that. Obviously, you can't do it if there's only two people because somebody has to hold the camera. But you can take series of photographs and then just pick the best ones. I think you're muted, actually. But can you see how the technique is starting to come together? You've got the arm swing, and you've got the dipping down and stepping across.
But it doesn't just go with just the hand; the whole body goes with it. So you draw me in, you take it down, yes, up, and then across my chest.
See, she forgot to step, right?
So that's how
there's like, it's really difficult to get all the parts together. So you draw the person in front of the tanden, and you change feet, and it's interesting because sometimes they can do the individual exercise, but as soon as somebody grabs hold of them, it falls apart because they're concentrated more on the opponent than on the movement. Bring it across. See, she's trying to do it too soon. Trying to go down, and at the same time, draw me in and down, and that leads to a conflict.
Just the wrist. From in, down, in. You draw the foot back, but you have to step with the other foot. Draw the foot and step across. Draw the front foot and then step across from the back foot. Step across in front of yourself. Move down, yes. Up.
Okay, that's starting to come together, except she stepped with the wrong foot.
So
there's always something.
You're here.
But you can imagine if you can't do this Kaisho version, the Kyosho version is not going to go well because already you're trying to blend them too soon or put them in the wrong order. And then the Sosho version is going to be a disaster because you're just swinging your arms and
step with the left.
You're not leading key.
And across. Yeah, just step behind me. Pull it in. Yes, yes, down, yes. Now step with your right foot. Yeah,
see, but she stepped across in front of me instead of to the side. You know, there's just trying to put this together. I guess it's a fairly advanced technique as well, but trying to put all this together.
So I draw you in. I can move.
Are you able to pause the video just for a second?
Sure. Oops, sorry.
Without, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so all I was going to say was, when you observe her vision, her line of vision, is coming to your hand.
Yeah.
So as soon as that happens, you're restricted in the extent of the technique. So what I try and say is, ignore the grip.
Yeah.
That's give it away. Give it away because you can move the rest of your body, and you want to think that okay, it has got you under control.
Yeah.
So give it away. Give that hand away because you can move the rest of yourself.
Right.
So that's one. And then the other thing is take the energy from the back of the room, from the far wall.
Rather than from the hand. Yeah.
And then the hand is coming in, but you're starting over there, and then let the energy come right through to try and stop that blocking thing. But very often this is manifest by the Naga, in this case, looking down at the attack, which in this case is a grip. Yeah. And that just creates a blockage, that blocks the mind.
Right.
So everything is concentrated there rather than taking your energy as an attacker and sweeping through. Yeah. The other thing, before you go back on the video, just before I forget, because it's quite important, if you do this like sports shot, quick sequence shot, there's a great difference. I'm doing that on a regular SLR camera. Yeah. So that the you get about 6, maybe 7 or 8 stills in a second. Yeah. Bang, 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 bang. which is enough to get a whole waza.
Yeah.
If you use a smartphone
Mm-hmm.
and you keep your finger on the button, it'll take
Hundreds.
100
Yeah.
shots
Yeah.
in a second or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And that is very difficult to manage. Just takes too much time.
Yeah.
So just be aware. I haven't figured out because I'm stupid, but if there's a way of doing that on a smartphone which restricts it to about 6 or 8 a second. But normally, if you put your finger on the shutter,
It'll just keep going. Yeah. Yeah.
It'll click away too fast.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I tend to use a traditional camera,
Mm-hmm.
and then I get the sequence shots that I want for one particular one.
That's a good question for Google, actually, because might be a setting that you can say how many frames do you want.
There may be. I don't want to take up time here, but I just want to alert you before I forget. Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, but as you were saying, she is actually looking at my hand, right? Even in the attack.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that immediately creates a block.
Yeah.
I might just jump in. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually reminds me, because now that you've pointed it out that she's looking at your hand, I remember when you were teaching us last semester, Reed Sensei, that you were never looking at the hand. You were always looking around or looking at our face. And I think that really changes the presence of the action as well. So yeah, it's really interesting you pointed that out.
Yeah, these are great suggestions, and I'd like to incorporate them, but I also want to be able to figure out a way to give visual, video, or photographic feedback to the students, because they don't know sometimes what they're doing. Like sometimes I'll do an exercise when I'm facing the students, and I go to my left, and I ask them to go to their left, and they go to their right because they follow me, right? And so then I'll ask them, because we have students from all over the world. So in India, this is left too, right? Correct? It's like, because they tend to just drift with it, right? Rather than just think, oh, my left, okay, and then you go opposite, right? Anyway, so this is a bit long, so I'm not sure we'll watch to the end, but let's watch a little bit more and see if we can put together the Kyosho Sosho parts.
Okay, now this is Kaisho. So every step, think of like photographs in a book. There's the first pose, there's the second, there's the third, there's the fourth, there's the fifth. So there's 5. Show me the 5 steps, photographs. First is the wrist bend. Throw the foot back, okay. And then 3 is down, 4 up, and here. Left hand up. Yeah, and step. So that way. Yeah, try again. Throw it in, come down, up, and step. And keep your body as straight as possible. Show me the 5 steps. 1, just this. But 1 second. Face me. So wrist. Face me. Right foot forward. This is the first step. Just stay here. It's like a pose for a photograph. Second step is here, by both hands, because this exercise. Third step is here. Fourth step is here. And 5th step is here. Yeah. So think of those as 5. It's like the Kaisho. It's 5 strokes. Show me the first stroke.
What a lot of people do is they will blend the steps. Like 4 and 5 kind of happen together because they're really losing their balance. And then you might be able to get away with that in Kyosho, but we're not there yet.
You're going like this.
Yeah, see, like that. Just kind of lean at it at an angle. You have to go straight up, straight down, and straight up, and then across.
Then what you did is like 4 or 5. So just count it. 1 is just here. I'll lift the foot out. 1, 2, cross wrist. Step, yeah. 4, right hand is up. And 5, you step through.
So these little elements.
Yeah, try it again smoothly, count loudly and clearly, and be on the camera.
I don't want to undermine today's session, Will, but I later on I have a terrible admission to make about what you're talking about today.
Oh, okay.
The process you're going through.
Yeah.
It's very bad, but there we go.
Okay.
1 is just here. It's the initial pose. 2, press your wrist, bring your foot in. So it's 1, 2. Just do that again. 1, 2. 1, 2. So 1, the hands are down. 1, 2. Then 3, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and bring the arm down. Okay, so make that really clear. Count. On camera. And 1, you don't step in. 1 is just standing there. Bend your wrist. Okay, please be on camera. So you're just standing here. 1. This is 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, now do all that. Don't change anything. Just go.
That's the trick. Okay. Don't change anything.
Okay, so this is 1, 2, 4, back. Yes. 3, yes. 4, step behind me. Yes. 5.
Except, pretty good, except the hand went down. It should just stay there.
Because you're not using your hand to throw. Let's do it one more time. Last one for Kaisho.
Let me see if I can advance this a little bit. Because I think I go into the Kyosho. Yeah. Well, that's more like Sosho.
Yes, not over my shoulder. Yes.
So you don't let them grab, you kind of lead them in and down and over. So instead of 1, 2, 1 and 2 become the same step. So it's 1, 2.
Yes, down, up. Yes, across. Yes. Yes, okay. Just make sure that you have a nice photo finish. Okay, so that's Kyosho.
Kyosho, and then lastly is Sosho.
The last one, Sosho, is I don't really even want you to grab it all. And then okay.
And that's difficult for people to get. Especially if they don't move the tongue down and they just swing in the arms and, you know, it can collide.
Just leave me down. Don't wait for me to grab.
I think people want to have the feeling of being held and pushing with the arm. And so Sosho just feels strange because there's no contact. There's a lead, but there's no contact. And so they feel like, oh, this can't work, right?
Sorry, I can do. Down. Yes, yes. That's good.
Okay, not too bad. Okay, so anyway, this is quite long.
Just practice that until it becomes real.
I'm going to end it there. So again, comments. Hugh, you said you had a comment.
No, it's just a terrible admission, which is that when you were teaching me Shodo,
yeah,
it became very quickly evident that my Kaisho was terrible, and that I was never really going to master it. So most of my work, I was much happier in Kyosho.
Yeah.
And so most of my, not that any of it was really any good, but the better ones were Kyosho.
Kyosho, yeah.
Of the works that I did.
Yeah.
And so turning that around in Aikido, I've taken it to an extreme because I'm much happier in Sosho.
Yeah.
And Kyosho, and sort of tend to overlook the Kaisho element of Aikido, which is what everybody else is doing very nicely. So,
do you have Tohei Sensei's book? This is Aikido. It's like was published in the 60s.
I don't have that one.
Okay, I can send you a PDF. Please remind me at the end.
Yeah.
I already sent it to Julia, and I don't know, Praja, I should also send it to you. It's a really, really good book. I think actually you might be able to download it from my website. Let me just check that quickly while we're here, because that takes you through all the Kaisho steps of all the techniques, and it combines them with the where would it be? Under books, yeah. It combines it with the Aiki Taiso. Okay, yeah. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and you go and you just scroll to the bottom, and it says this is Aikido by Koichi Tohei, and you can download the file. You can also download Ki in Daily Life and Shodo, the Art of Coordinating Mind, Body, and Brush, and some other things. But let me put that in the chat. Here, I'll unshare. I'll stop sharing. Go back to the chat and put that, and just open this up and scroll down and see if you can find it. You can download it anytime, but it says this is Aikido. Julia, I've already sent you this one because I think you have it. But it's a really, really good book. It was written around the same time as Ki in Daily Life, really in the golden era. And every photograph, it just takes all the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, whatever it takes. Are you able to find it? It's at the bottom. You scroll down to the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go back and share the screen again. And we're going to go over to this room, and you'll see, standing in front of this, an example of Kaisho, Kyosho, and Sosho. Let me move a little bit back, actually over, so you can see it more from the side. Yeah, you see that? It says Kaisho, Kyosho, and Sosho. Those are the same characters, but written in different levels of cursive writing. And it's interesting they call it the one on the left cursive, because most people actually curse much more when they're practicing Kaisho. it's so challenging because they want to flow and they want to get ahead, and you have to move each step. Each stroke has its own particular rhythm. And I've been working with a really interesting app called Audio Pen. I really recommend this. There's the free version, and then I think you pay a certain fee, and then you can use unlimited thing for it's not a subscription, you just pay a certain fee and you can make as unlimited files. Audio Pen, one word. And what you do is you speak into it, and at least in the paid version, you can get up to 15 minutes of recording. It records your voice, and you just be conversational. You could do it while you're walking, or you can hesitate, you can say and ah, and you can stop in the middle of a sentence, and it will produce a really nice summary that's grammatically correct. I don't know how it works, but it's really, really useful. And you can also get the full original transcript. And then you have this text that you can email to yourself and use in any way you like. So I found that sometimes when I have a writing assignment, it's actually easier to speak it out, probably because I teach so much. It's easier for me to speak than to, put it in, especially on a smartphone. We have to do this all the time. And so I did that for tonight's session. I just took the theme of Kaisho, Kyosho, Sosho, and I said, well, what if I just talked around that and made a file that I could share? So I'm going to go in here, and you see here on this side you have Kai, Gyo, So. So you see it's just different. This is the same character, believe it or not, but just different levels of fluidity. And then on this side, I put the hidden connections between Shodo and Budo, which is an article you may wish to read. But the one I want to really point out is this is a link on my website, but you can also watch it here. Actually, I should probably pull up the link and put that in the chat first so that you can easily download it. Now, if you go to my website, okay, I'm gonna have to unshare for a moment. So if you go, actually, I'm gonna share and then go to my website. Okay, I'll share that one. So if you go to, this is the welcome page, right? If you go all the way over and you go way down to the bottom, this is a new page I've added, Aikido Metaversity Readings. If you click on that, this is what I spoke, basically. This is just what I spoke, and then actually what I spoke, which was then put together by the AI into nice fluid sentences, and then I captured it as a PDF, which you can download. So I'm going to actually read it, but you can find it on the screen here. So you can see, you can just, I think you can even download it if you're in the thing. You just click on there, you should be able to download it, but you have the link. So since the characters are rather small, what I'm going to do, I've printed it out, and I'm just going to read it, because this was basically what I spoke, and then this should cover some of the themes in a bit more organized way. So, calligraphy and Aikido parallel techniques. Today I would like to discuss the parallels between the 3 script styles found in calligraphy and how they can be applied to the teaching and mastery of Aikido techniques. The first and most common script style is Kaisho, also known as block style writing or printing. It is characterized by a clear delineation of stroke order with all of the strokes present, forming the radicals that combine to create characters. This style is highly legible and serves as the foundation for printed characters. In Aikido, this is comparable to techniques taught or featured in books using photographs, where each step and transition is clearly articulated through footwork, hand and wrist movements, and body angle direction. A common challenge students face when performing Kaisho is weakness at the beginning and ending of strokes. It may appear as if they are wiping paint on the paper rather than executing a stroke clearly. The 3 parts of a stroke are known as kihitsu, awakening of the brush, sohitsu, sending the brush, and shuhitsu, bringing the brush back together. This can be taught in Aikido by ensuring proper weight transfer and correct step sequencing. Students often struggle with technique fundamentals due to improper weight transfer or incorrect sequence, making their movements awkward and ineffective. The second script style is Gyosho, or semi-cursive writing. Its main characteristic is the connection of kimyaku, key line, between strokes, weaving them together like a loosely tied knot. Gyosho challenges arise when people move too quickly on curves or use uniform line thickness, which disrupts rhythm and diminishes the character's 3-dimensional appearance. In Aikido, Gyosho involves not allowing an opponent to grab hold while leading them into motion with more fluidity and fewer steps than Kaisho. This can be difficult without first mastering Kaisho's fundamental steps. The third style is Sosho, or fully cursive writing, sometimes called grass writing. It is the least legible but most dynamic style. In Aikido, Sosho involves minimal contact with the opponent while leading them into a whirlwind or whirlpool of energy. The throw is executed with little physical contact, also known as throwing with ki. However, without understanding and mastering the fundamentals of Kaisho and Gyosho, executing Sosho techniques become nearly impossible. These 3 stages should be taught separately and their meanings clearly distinguished. In Kaisho, movements are similar to a dragonfly's hovering and darting motion. In Gyosho, they resemble a butterfly weaving in and out, and in Sosho, they can be compared to a bird swooping down and changing direction quickly. Just as Kaisho represents stately walking, Gyosho is akin to dancing, and Sosho is like flying. Applying these metaphors to Aikido can help students understand how an opponent is first taken step by step before blending some steps together, eventually leading into an energy dance with minimal body contact, but effective execution. These analogies between calligraphy and Aikido can enhance your understanding of both art forms. Learning and performing Aikido techniques can be both rewarding and beneficial for your overall well-being. Now, up to that is basically what I spoke. And then I think the software dipped in and just added a few points that I didn't say, but I'll go ahead and read them. They made a list of things to effectively master these skills. Follow these steps. 1, begin by familiarizing yourself with the fundamental principles of Aikido. These include blending with your opponent's energy, maintaining a relaxed posture, and focusing on circular movements. 2, next, seek out a qualified instructor or join a reputable Aikido dojo to receive proper guidance. This will ensure you're learning the correct techniques and practicing in a safe environment. 3, during your training sessions, pay close attention to your instructor's demonstrations and explanations. Don't hesitate to ask questions or request clarification if needed. 4, practice each technique slowly and deliberately at first. focusing on proper form and alignment. Gradually increase your speed as you become more comfortable with the movements. 5, consistently attend classes and practice sessions to build muscle memory and improve your skills over time. 6, finally, remember that Aikido is a lifelong journey of self-improvement. Embrace its teachings and continue refining your techniques throughout your training journey. By following these steps, you'll be well on your way to mastering the art of Aikido. It's not too bad for a computer, you know, to kind of come up with, I mean, the first part was just transcription of what I said, but then I don't know how it works, but it seems to work. Anyway, you've got all that stuff here, so I'd like to open it for comments, or you may have already downloaded and may have questions.
Yeah, I've got to just chip in with a couple of things there, Will. First of all, I've just downloaded the PDF, or I've opened the PDF.
Yeah.
Which is just a plain piece of paper with what you've written there.
Yeah.
I'd like to share this. I think it's really, really good. But in order to share it, could you do another version with the samurai walk banner on top and your contact details?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. So
when you've got time, if you can do another version and send it to me, I'd like to distribute that a little bit more widely to people.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. I can do that. Can you just send me just a quick one-liner email as a reminder, and then I will do it tonight.
Yeah, no, that's it. The other thing you may or may not consider adding to it is the point about when we were watching the video in your dojo just now, there was sometimes a little problem with the coordination of the movement.
Yeah.
So the step was going the wrong way, and it reminded me in Shodo that when you use for the good pieces that one wants to present, you're grinding the ink on a stone. And when you use the ink from the ground ink from the stone, you can see the stroke order. I don't know if you want to explain that to the others. Whereas the bottled ink is just a black line, you can't see the stroke order.
Yeah. Please explain.
So you can see the mistake.
Yeah.
And actually, that is also true of Aikido.
Oh.
that if you step first one way instead of the other way, or you move your body somehow in the wrong order,
right,
the technique falls down.
And
that is very similar to the ground ink in Shodo.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I don't know if you just want to explain that more clearly to the others, but I think it's so interesting.
The way you can tell is because the ground ink is semi-transparent. What happens is if you lay down a stroke and then you put another stroke on top of it, you'd expect it to appear on top of it. But what happens is it shoots underneath it, because this is the ink has already sort of captured the space there. So even though you're painting on top of it, it appears to go underneath it. So it looks three-dimensional, and you can tell if the person did the wrong stroke order because it's obvious where the brush actually went.
And if you're putting in a piece for a competition and the judges or the sensei see that, they'll chuck it out.
Yeah.
If the stroke order is wrong, it gets thrown out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. So maybe just a little asterisk and reminder to add something on that, because that's quite an important point. Yeah, very good. But I'm just trying to follow like the process of where all this comes from, because those are things I normally teach. But when I actually sit down and focus on, okay, I'm going to speak it out and then create a document, and the part of the reason why I came up with that is because Ruth was struggling with some of those steps, and I was struggling to convey them and make the comparison. But in the process of that struggle, you come out with a document, which now you're going to be able to share with people. So pretty interesting process.
The other thing which comes to my mind, which again, in my experience, is true for Aikido and for Shodo, which must have come from you in the first place, obviously, as the great source, is to visualize the end product. So I would, my words to describe this, they could be wrong, but I'd explain it this way. In Aikido, if you can visualize the end of the technique, you know your destination. And as you build more knowledge of the Kaisho steps, and you move into Kyosho and Sosho, you know where you're going to arrive, and eventually you just arrive. So you've done the technique without thinking too much of the little bits in between, because you built the building blocks in your mind and you just finished. Similarly, in Shodo, and I'm pretty sure this was a very key point that you taught us. If you can visualize the finished product, even if it's one or two characters, but particularly if it's a scroll type thing, if you can visualize the whole thing before you start, got a far better chance of going through it smoothly and delivering balance in the so looking at the Shodo behind you on your wall behind, we can see the balance, we can see the spaces, we can see very nice balance. It's not tilted over to one side or crammed into a corner. And by visualizing what it should look like before you start helps achieve that, in my opinion.
Interesting. There's a question I want to ask Julia as to how that applies to music. So if you could give that a little bit of thought, but I just want to also first comment on that particular, you notice it's in a frame, right? In a square. And when we paint Shodo, we always have a frame. And I compare that to the lines on the tennis court or the net on the tennis court. And if you choose to ignore the lines, your game's going to go to hell in a basket. So if you can be really tight and keep the ball inside those lines, and even though it's difficult, that gives you the discipline and it really comes alive. And the Shodo's the same. And Julia, can you comment on how that process Hugh was talking about, visualizing, knowing where you're going with the piece, how that applies to violin?
Absolutely. I mean, I actually had an interview today where I was kind of talking about this in a way, so you never know. Well, I guess in a way that I can relate it. When I'm playing a piece, I guess my final destination is what I imagine that piece to be expressing. What is the emotion? What is the expression? What is the experience that this composer had that they were trying to say with their music? I think in classical music, we can get so caught up in, am I getting the notes right kind of thing. It's only just about the notes. But more recently, I've been trying to put the human feelings, experience, expression at the center of the piece. And if I have that in the center of my practice, then it's so much more guided and so much more meaningful when I'm practicing and performing as well. So it's a win on all sides.
Wow, that's powerful. That's great stuff. Yeah. Praja, can you have any comments about the comparison with calligraphy? Because you've experienced
yes, I remember those days, 1989. I had many private sessions, Shodo, with you at ABC, your office.
Yeah.
So those days, really, I don't know anything about Shodo, but you introduced me. But even I don't know any meaning of any character, but you just show me this is Hana, this is key. We especially follow with the key character. And small things and notes. Ichini, Sanshi, like that.
Yeah.
So actually, it was very difficult for me that time, because holding brush in Kaisho mode.
Yeah.
Because we have to stay very long time with the brush and dipping brush, and ink drop down. So tuning with the brush, and also, as Mr. Hugh said, that grinding the stones. So actually, that's the warm up for.
Yeah.
Like a Taiso, like Taiso. Yes, that the drills like we did, and then finally it was very close, because I didn't know any meaning, but later on the meaning came to me with something like the key. Aikido and universal energy. I only just follow that one. So
Nice.
even I don't know many correct meaning of the characters.
So 1989, that was 33 years ago. Can you imagine?
Yes, yes. And now, still I have that spirit, but the problem here is I cannot find much the tools like papers, things. But still, I have some inks for important things. So it is very difficult. We have no shops in Sri
Can you
Lanka
order
to buy
from
things.
Amazon? Because most of those things are available on Amazon.
Amazon, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And also, Sensei, in Kaisho, Kyosho, and Sosho, in Mariama Sensei, and introduce us two more things, yes?
Yeah.
Kotai, Ryutai.
Yeah, the levels beyond that.
Yeah.
Kotai is Kaisho, basically. It's step
Kaisho,
by step. And
Ryutai
Juntai is a Gyosho, it's a fluid. And then, Juntai is Gyosho, means
yes,
Juntai in the right order. And then,
Kotai, Juntai.
and then Ryutai is Sosho, it's fluid.
So,
But then there are two steps beyond that, which
Kutai
is the spirit technique, spirit body, and then Kotai, maybe the empty body or something like that.
Yes,
And
yes.
he used to do that a lot, and it's like, wow, what's happening here? You know, it's like,
I think you do that with the last month I saw you are doing save tree calligraphy, but it is big task. Maybe you did this Kotai.
I don't know, yeah, but it's quite a lot actually just to master the first three, and then beyond that, I think you can kind of naturally discover the later things. They're hard to teach. Hard to teach Kotai. You know, the empty body, or the empty,
Yes. It's surprise, something surprise.
Yeah, or they think it looks fake, or they think you're cooperating or something like that. Yeah, so interesting. So yeah, well, that's great. Any other comments to kind of wrap it up? Questions or?
I think it's actually really interesting. Like, it's absolute chance that we're talking about this, because I just had dinner with Nakamura Sensei and my roommate, and he just said that there are 3 types of writing in calligraphy, and this was right before this meeting. I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
And now I just got this. Yeah, he said one separate, one is all cursive and joined, and
yeah.
I don't know, the world's trying to tell me something. That's what I'm gonna say.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I think themes come and go, and there's some kind of vibration that kind of picks up. People tune in to the cosmic radio or something, you know. It's like very good. Okay, so Hugh, yeah, I'll get on sending you something like that with a banner and the contact details, and then yeah. But otherwise, I think you have the links and you can download them. Gabriel had to have some work this morning, so he was not able to join, but I'll send him the Zoom link as well as you all. Okay. Have a good evening or morning. Yeah, thank you. Oh,
thanks a lot.
On October 1st, we have training with Mariama Sensei. It's Sunday at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, same place.
Yeah, same place. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll be there. I think.
Make sure you bring a lot of sake, Will.
Oh,
it is International Sake Day on the 1st.
Oh, true. Yeah, and it's also Mariama Sensei's birthday month. Anyway. Very good. Okay. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Bye.